Have you seen Star Wars?
For the first time in what feels like a very long time, we have good news for Star Wars when it comes to video games. And this comes from StarWars.com. I'll read you the main paragraph we need to focus on. It says, StarWars.com is thrilled to reveal that Lucasfilm Games is now the official identity for all gaming titles from Lucasfilm, a name that encompasses the company's rich catalog of video games and its eye towards the future. To mark this new era, Lucasfilm has launched social channels on Twitter and Facebook, which will deliver breaking news and more directly to fans. You can watch a sizzle reel creating, basically just saying, hey, we have titles that we've worked on. But they also said that they're now going to be working on and developing in collaboration with the finest studios across the industry. Now, what does that mean? This may mean nothing, because we've had Lucasfilm Games as kind of like not a subsidiary, but a group at Lucasfilm for some time. And these are mostly the people who work on games with EA in terms of the story, in terms of what the games are going to be about and what they're like, just working in collaboration with EA. Well, now this is kind of the official, almost developer. This is the official place to go to for Star Wars games. So what does that mean for EA? The contract for EA runs out in 2023. We got 2 more years of that. And as it stands right now, from EA at least, we only have one more game coming. And that's Jedi Fallen Order 2, which is coming out in 2022, probably in the last half of that year. So I think this means, and a lot of people are speculating this, and it seems to be the hint that Lucasfilm is going for, you do not make your own independent studio, your game developer, whatever we're going to call this, if you're planning on continuing to work with EA going forward. And so I think that means what we're seeing here. I think Lucasfilm has, yet again, finally listened to the fans of Star Wars and realized that the deal with EA was not a good one. Now, either Lucasfilm realized this, someone like Kathleen Kennedy, some of the executives over there at Lucasfilm, or Disney realized this. One of the two companies realized the partnership with EA has not been the most beneficial, has not been, something that's really bang for your buck. If we look at the games that EA has released under the Star Wars banner, we have 4, and I really only count 2 of them as full games. We have the first game in 2015, Battlefront. The second game was in 2017, which was Battlefront 2. Then we get Jedi Fallen Order in 2019. That's 3 games over the course of 6 years, because they started in 2013, and then in 2020 we got Star Wars Squadrons. I do not count Battlefront 1 and Star Wars Squadrons as video games. I am sorry, but they're very, very small in terms of content. And Star Wars Squadrons was kind of a just short thing, and it's fine, whatever. But really, looking back over the course of 10 years, we're probably going to have 5 video games to look back for EA, and that's Jedi Fallen Order 1 and 2, and because Jedi Fallen Order 2 comes out in 2022. So before the deal with EA is over, they would have put out 5 games over the course of 10 years, and they have countless studios to really work on these projects. And they've canceled a lot of them. They canceled the Ragtag game, they canceled Battlefront 3, I think they canceled like 2 or 3 different versions of the Battlefront game that had gone into different forms of development, same with Ragtag. It's been very disappointing, and it's really sucked being a Star Wars fan who loves video games, because there hasn't really been anything to write home about other than Jedi Fallen Order and Battlefront 2, if you're not going to count the 2005 Battlefront, and if you're going to be a little bit more forgiving to the launching of Battlefront 2. So it looks like Lucasfilm and Disney have kind of wised up to this, and now they're realizing it probably would be best to go back to those LucasArts days and just do it yourself. Be your own developer. If anything, do what a lot of us have been saying for a long time, and just let other studios work on Star Wars games, work on the Star Wars IP, but don't have it locked in the contract to this exclusive deal with EA that you did for 10 years. I'm okay with someone like Rockstar working on a Star Wars game, someone like Bethesda working on a Star Wars game. There's a lot of different companies out there that I think could really add something interesting to the Star Wars IP in the video game realm. And it really has been limiting to let EA do this and let them fumble over it for such a long time. I mean, you guys remember before Jedi Fallen Order came out, the reason they said they canceled the Ragtag game, the game that a lot of us were really interested in, was because they didn't think that gamers and fans were interested in a single-player story game. That is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard from someone who makes video games. EA has been voted one of the worst companies for many years. I think they've done it for 2 or 3 years. They've been voted like the most hated or the worst company in the planet. And that just goes to show that this was a really bad deal. We may have gotten some good content out of this. If you like Battlefront 2 the way it stands now, that's understandable. But I still look at Battlefront 2 from 2005 and go, that has a lot more to do and a lot more content than the Battlefront 2 from EA, which is embarrassing. I mean, that's really embarrassing. The launch for Battlefront 2 was embarrassing. Battlefront 1 is embarrassing. The only good thing they've done, arguably, is Jedi Fallen Order. And we're seeing more success with that, and hopefully with Jedi Fallen Order 2, we're all going to say, well, this was really good to have. But that's just something you can give to Respawn. And Respawn's probably not working on another Star Wars IP because, well, if you look at what they're doing right now, they're working on Apex Legends, they're working on a new IP underneath their little banner, and they're working on Jedi Fallen Order 2. So there's not a lot in the works over there at EA, and I think today, for sure, I think in the past year or so, they have realized we're probably not going to get the Lucasfilm and Disney Star Wars deal renewed. I think they've realized that their time has kind of come to an end, and I think Jedi Fallen Order 2 is kind of the last hoorah for EA. There was some reports that EA was looking at making a Force Unleashed 3. That may come out in 2023 when the deal ends, kind of to incentivize Lucasfilm and Disney to re-sign the contract or let them to continue to work on Star Wars games in the future. I mean, it would be something to say if EA was like, hey, by the way, I know our deal's over, but if you still want us to put out a Star Wars game, we've been working on this Force Unleashed 3 for about a year now or something. There's something to that, and that would be a little bit more redeeming for EA. But overall, man, I'm done. I am done with EA. The past decade of Star Wars video games has really sucked, if I'm being honest. Now, I was very, very young when LucasArts was a thing. I mean, they ended in 2012, technically. Well, maybe 2013. My dates might be off, I'm sorry, but I remember playing The Force Unleashed 1, The Force Unleashed 2, both of the Battlefronts. Those were really big games for me growing up, and I loved them. The Lego Star Wars games were huge. All of that really meant something to me, and all of that still has that nostalgia fest for me, looking back. I don't think I'm going to have that with any of the EA games. I don't look back at Battlefront 1 with fondness. That came out in high school for me, and I played it, didn't love it. I look back on it, I'm like, that kind of sucked. Battlefront 2, same thing. It's a lot better, but when it came out, it sucked. And I play it today, and I play about an hour or two, and I'm kind of bored. It's really just the same thing over and over again. There's nothing bringing me back. It's not that fun. It's fun, but it's not that fun. It's not better than the original Battlefront 2. Jedi Fallen Order is great. That is a great game, but that's because it was made by Respawn with almost no involvement from EA. So I think Lucasfilm has realized this. I think Lucasfilm has looked at this and said, you know what works? If EA is not involved. Respawn does great without EA involved. So, what should we do going forward? Let other studios work on Star Wars games for the future, and we should probably not let EA be involved in any shape or form, unless they're going to let one of their studios develop it. So this is great news for me. I'm excited for the future of Star Wars games. Lucasfilm says this is a new era in Star Wars games, so maybe they're finally listening to us. I mean, just think about how good of a decade this will be if we get new Star Wars games that are not from EA, plus all the Star Wars shows and all the Star Wars movies. This, I've said it before and I'll say it again, this could be one of the best eras for Star Wars and one of the biggest and brightest futures that we've had in a very long time. But tell me your thoughts below. What do you guys think about this news that Lucasfilm is launching a new era in Star Wars video games? And do you think they're going to renew the deal with EA, or do you think we're moving on from them finally, and who do you want to work on Star Wars games in the future? If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe because it does help the channel out. I'm Star Wars Only. I will see you all next time, and may the Force be with you always.